If you have two shoes, please sell one and buy a sword. If you have two trousers, please sell one and buy a sword. Because now it is time for revolution. And this revolution is not gonna be on streets. This revolution is not about angry face. This revolution is first and foremost in the mind. Because if our mind is not liberated or is not under our control, the one who controls our mind will make our bodies the tools to oppress us or to oppress our people. Peace and decolonization, peace and love from wherever you find yourself. My name is King Kabbalah from the African Continental Unity Party and the Free-Minded Pan-African Academy. We greet you as always with our revolutionary greetings. Thank you for being with us today on this weekly conversation where we talk about matters concerning Africa, African liberation and African emancipation. Brothers and sisters, today I want us to realize that we are at war. I want us to realize that we are at war as African people. In fact, the African society has been at war for a long time, since we came to know that there are some people on this earth called Europeans or called Arabs. And maybe the war still continues, since we know that in this world there are some people called, I don't know, Chinese or whatever. In essence, everybody want a piece of Africa. That's the war I'm talking about. In order for people to achieve their dreams, their goals of controlling the world, of becoming superpower, they need to get something from Africa, but they are not willing to pay or to enter into a commercial exchange with African people for what Africans possess. So therefore they need to take it either by force, or they need to wage a war in the African mindset, in African culture, in order to take by force what Africans possess and make themselves better, and make Africans always eternal servants of foreign institutions, or to be more precise, in the current context of European standards of life, of European world. Now, this is a warfare that we as African people need to adopt a warfare mindset in order to reverse this order and make our lives better. And the message that I have today is that this change that needs to happen, this reverse that needs to take place now and today in our generation. And we need to do it by using the means or the strategies of Pan-Africanism. And what I'm trying to say is that if we don't succeed to put Pan-Africanists into power, then we don't know how long it will take our children to taste what is called freedom again. If I should repeat myself, if we don't succeed in this century, 21st century, to make Pan-Africanism a leading force in Africa, or to put Pan-Africanists into power to lead our institutions in Africa, then it will take, I don't know how many more centuries for our children to taste what is called freedom. And I'm going to explain what I'm saying, or the reason I'm saying that, by picking up only 2 points among many points that can explain that we are a generation that need to work now to lay the foundation of African liberation. And if we fail it, then there's not much hope left for the future generations of African people. I'm going to explain that in 2 points, as I said. The first point that makes us a key generation in this struggle for African liberation as we're speaking right now. Many of us are born in 1970s. Many of us are born in 1980s, and they are still around. And people who are born around that time, eventually, they know a different world. They know a different world from the world we have today. They know a world whereby if you want to come and visit me as your friend or your family member, you need to travel. You need to travel. It means you need to be patient, to take your time, to make your sacrifice, to come to me and to see me and to socialize with me and to build a family in that manner. If I have to send you a letter, or if you have to send me a letter because you cannot travel, you need to be patient to wait for your letter to travel the distance where you are, or to travel the distance that separates me and you, and to reach out to me, I don't know, in a month or in 2 months. Therefore, you need to be patient until I get your message and I reply. That's how the world used to work during the time that you who are born in the 70s or 80s. That's how the world basically was functioning. If you want to cook a meal, you need to probably go through, you need to definitely go through the whole process of cooking the meal, preparing the meal, start to cook the meal. It takes 1 or 2 hours. You need to be patient. So basically, the world that you know before, or that we know before, some of us who grew up in the 1990s, we have ideas of the world that we knew. We didn't have fast food. We didn't have a smartphone to socialize. So if we want to visit our family members, we actually make an effort. We made an effort actually to go to them, or they came to us. We socialized organically, humanly. We interacted as a family. We built that culture of actually physical interaction and real interaction, a real feeling of I'm a part of this family. The same thing with your meal. The same thing with all the activities that we need to do. We needed to do at that time. You see? So that's the world that we knew, and that's the world that we lived in for that part of our life before the year 2000, before the technology boomed and stuff like that. And if you try to analyze the organizations that our forefathers or our elders built during that period, in the 1960s, 1970s, 1980s, those organizations were successful, even though there was no social media to do propaganda. There was no YouTube, there was no TikTok and all these kind of things that we have today. So those organizations were successful, and they've laid a foundation for a lot of struggle that we are doing today, even though they didn't have a lot of tools that we have today, simply because people were truly genuine at that time. People were truly humane at that time. Africans knew how to be patient, to cook something until it's really cooked so that we can enjoy it. African knew how to socialize organically and humanly. African knew how to come together and build something. African were living in the normal world, different from the fast world in which we are living today. You see, people had a different mindset. Is the same mindset that is still with the people who were born in that generation, people who lived in that period. Because what we see today, what I'm trying to say is that today we have seen two worlds. We have seen the end of the world that we knew before, that we lived a part of our life, and we have started living in a different world today. Okay? So the point I'm trying to make is the children that will be born, starting actually from now up to the end of this century, will never have a taste of the world that we knew before, that organic world, whereby if you want to cook the meal, you will eat organic food. You go to to your garden, you take your food, your herbs, which is not really Monsanto created in the laboratories, but which is organically, obviously, developed, so to say. And you will be patient through the whole process of development of your crops. You will eat organic food. You will have organic relationships. You have, organic health. Life was just different. But the kids who are born today upwards, they don't know that kind of world. The only thing they know is if they want to socialize, they must use WhatsApp or they must use Facebook. Maybe tomorrow they must use some kind of AI stuff that these reptiles will make for us. They don't know how to be patient, because if they want to eat, if they have the money, they must run to McDonald's. Within 2 minutes, the meal is cooked, and then they will eat fast food, as we know today is the culture. There's no patience today. There's no that mindset of beginning something, right? Following through the process and making sure that you succeed. You go through all the steps in order to succeed and build something that is sustainable. Everything's fast now. You want to communicate instant messages, right? Sometimes you don't need to go to see people to interact with them. You just send WhatsApp, you send Facebook, you send, TikTok messages and stuff like that. That's the world of today. You have fast cars, you have fast food, you have fast internet, you have everything's kind of fast. So that culture of patience, that culture of sitting down, thinking, and begin to create something from scratch and achieving the result that you have designed in your mind, that culture is almost like not existing anymore. Because a lot of things now, if you want answers, you don't have to go to your elders to speak with them to get wisdom. You go to Google, you type, what is this, and you get what you want. So it makes the mindset of the current generation weak and weaker, that they are not inclined to inquire from the nature, while the resolution of our problems depends on our inquiry to the nature. If I should say it in other words, all the problems that we have in life can be solved through the process of questions and answers. You ask questions to the nature, and the nature will inspire you with answers at some stage of your existence, answers that will correspond to your problem. But this is what is actually disappearing as we're speaking right now, because the weak mindset that rely on Google, that rely on technology, that rely on fast food, that rely on laziness, cannot really endure the process of sitting down, inquire from the nature, and be patient to receive the response one of these days and solve our problems. So, in a nutshell, what I'm trying to say is, if we who have seen the world changing, if we don't stand up now to lay the foundation of a true and humane society that our children need to live in, they wouldn't have that idea at all. They wouldn't have that struggle at all, because they don't know that world and they don't know how to bring it into existence. So we have seen this difference at this moment. We are the only ones who can then make sure that, okay, this is the world that we saw before and we lived in and we have experienced, and this is the world that we know today now. The world that has been brought by capitalism expansion, by technological overtaking of human capabilities, the world of AI and all this kind of stuff. What is the best world for us as African people? Knowing our culture, knowing our tradition, knowing our ways of life that is centered on Ubuntu, centered on collective rights that prevail over individual rights. What is the best society? What is the blueprint we can have? So we are the generation that can answer to those questions, because we know what is the true world, what is the human world is. And in fact, for you to see the limits of capitalism, you have today those who are calling themselves in Europe, those who are calling themselves naturalists. They want to go back to the nature. They want to run away from technology. Even though when they came to Africa, they thought we are backward people because we didn't give much value to tools tools such as technologies, we were emphasizing more the human interaction. So they are the ones who are coming back now to the things that we knew long time ago. So we are the ones who are able to build the foundation of this human world. But if we don't succeed to make it now, if we don't find the necessity to build this world today, then what our children, what are they going to do? Nothing at all. Because they don't know the difference between these two worlds. They are born in the culture of technology. They are born in the culture of TikTok, of Facebook, of Instagram. And they are growing up in that culture of dancing. When you go to social media, it's all about dancing. It's all about exhibiting your bodies to get more likes. It's about showing yourself naked to be appreciated, to be liked and stuff like this. Is the culture that is dominating the society or the social media today, in most part, of course. So how can we expect, if we don't do something today, expect that our children will build a better world, of which they've never known what is the difference between the better world and a good world? I mean, a better world and a bad world. So that's what I'm saying. We are the key generation that has to build the change that we want in Africa. And I'm going to give you the second reason why the change that we want for Africa needs to happen now. Pan-Africanism needs to be put into power now. Because if we don't manage to do that, then our kids will suffer. Will suffer for I don't know how many centuries before they can taste the freedom that we want as African people. And what is dangerous about their suffering is because it's the fact that it will be controlled by technology. You see, the oppression that our forefathers went through, it was monitored by other human beings. And no matter what happened to human being, no matter how much the human being can change, there's still a human part, there's still a part of him that is human, that can feel compassion, that can feel empathy towards other human beings. But when they put technologies, when they put AI, artificial intelligence, to monitor the next slavery that will happen, technology don't have compassion. Technology are not humans. So it's going to be a very harsh slavery that we need to make sure today that doesn't happen by sacrificing at least our joy of today, our expectations of today, our excitement of today, in order to build a better world for our future generation. It requires some sacrifice from us as a current generation. Now let me quickly give you the second reason why the change needs to happen today. You see, we came from, in the past, the whole world actually was led from religious leaders. The people who were believed to be God's chosen people were the ones who were also believed to be the rulers or the authorities of their respective countries. We're talking about the popes, we're talking about the pharaohs in Egypt. These people were rulers of their states, at the same time were religious leaders as well. So time evolved and religious leaders were now removed from the rulership of their states to be replaced by pure politicians, people who went to schools to study politics, how to manage nations, how to manage all the 9 areas of people's activities according to Fuller Jr., whether you talk about economic, entertainment, education, labor, law, politics, religion, sex, and war. All these 9 areas became now under the leadership of politicians. Now, the same thing that happened to religious leaders is about to happen today to the politicians that we are electing, that we are putting our trust into. In a sense that they are now also getting replaced from their position of leadership to be now, of course, getting removed from their position of leadership to be replaced now with the individuals who manage the world economy. The money managers of the world are the ones now who are capturing the political power and they want to hide behind technology, right? Hide behind some kind of technological innovations and replace our politicians with this kind of technologies to run the world for the future. So these people that we can call the transnational capitalist class, they don't have interest in your betterment or my betterment. They don't have interest in creating employment for the masses. They don't have interest in creating or bettering the conditions of the poor people. All the interest they have is how to get more and more money, unlimited access to the wealth, and controlling the world's resources by themselves. That is why now they are buying politicians and giving mandates to politicians, and many of the politicians that we are electing today are actually being funded, are being actually subsidized by the very same people that I'm talking about to run the program, not of the masses who are electing the politicians, but the program of the money managers of the world, those who are called lobbyist groups, those who are buying politicians and giving politicians the mission, the program, and the mandates. So you see that the political power is being shifted. Politicians don't really have the power as they used to have. And that's the reason why when we are electing these politicians, what they do is to do what? To go to the World Bank, to go to the IMF, to borrow money in order to execute their programs. But that money comes with the conditions, and that's what we're talking about. So those conditions is all about implementing the agenda of those who paid the bill, those who sponsored the campaign, those who paid the money, rather than you and I. So what do we need to do today to recuperate the situation? Because if the political power slips completely in the hands of the money managers of the world, they wouldn't need politicians anymore. They will create some kind of technological artificial intelligence to manage our states. And we will be robotized the people. Some of us will get some chips in their brains. So the world will totally different than what we know today. So the difference that actually we are seeing today is not the total picture of what's going to happen in the future. So we currently can make this stop. We have the power as the masses of the world, but most particularly as the masses of Africa, because the whole thing that is happening, the whole agenda has a target as Africa. You see, we have a role to play today to make sure that we lay the foundation of a different world, the world that we want, not the world that the capitalist wants, or the world that the transnational capitalist class wants, or these reptiles who manage the world economy wants. But the world that we want is the masses of Africa, because that is the world that responds to our needs of better life, our needs of sustainable development, our needs of a good ecology, good weather, good environment, and stuff like that. So, what is the organization that you belong to fight this fight? If things that I've just mentioned here interest you, what is your take into this struggle to make sure that we create a better world? We lay the foundation, first of all, for a humane society that our children will build, and therefore we prevent the capitalist or the money managers of the world from taking over the political power. What do you do to make sure that these two changes take place? Well, if you don't have any organization in which you are working, and if you feel that these things need to happen today, and you feel also that we are the key generation to make this thing happening, we invite you to join us in the African Continental Unity Party, where we believe that we are working to change things in a manner that I've just explained. Because the first thing that we are aiming at in the African Continental Unity Party when it comes to political power is that the masses must have the power, not even the politicians. Because you see, the lobbyist group can buy politicians, but they cannot buy the masses if the masses have the power. You see, you can pay a politician and give him a mission, but you cannot pay the entire masses of African people, no matter how much money you have. You see? So that's a reality. That's why we want to push for the power to be to the people in a way that there's no decision that politicians that we are electing can take if it does not, first of all, get to be approved by the masses of African people. And that is the true democracy. Because you see, these people have the possibility to capture our political power simply because we are only electing people. We are only getting excited about electing leaders, but we are not participating in the process of decision making. Those politicians, when they go there, they get paid by the transnational capitalist class to implement their agenda. And we are not part of that. So the decision they take do not involve our needs or our aspirations, which led us to elect those politicians. It's about doing what the money managers do or want them to do. But if we can change the system in a sense that no politician will take decision that affects us as a society without our approval, then we have a total different system there. And that is what we are pushing in the African Continental Unity Party. So you can join us, you can be part of us, so that together, because this works better and easily succeed only when we all together work toward it, when we all bring in our contribution. It cannot work if 5 people are the only ones who are working on this agenda. It cannot work only if 1,000 people are working this agenda, while African continent or African people are estimated to be, 2 billions on the world. In the world today. So please join us so that together we get to work in laying the foundation for a better society. You see, so the other change that we want to bring is about putting Pan-Africanism into power, as I just said before, which is a true foundation for African liberation. Because if we don't do it today, our children, they don't know the better world, which has to be built and how they can proceed about building it. You see, all that they know is this culture of individualism that has been promoted by capitalism. They don't know how to come together and build a better society. They don't know how to understand each other. They don't know how to be patient towards one another. They don't know how to wait for one to go first if he's the one who came first, so that I can go after him or her. All that which they know is that it's me or nobody else. It's me first or nobody else. So it's kind of a confusion in the world today. That's, when you look at it clearly, you may as well think as I think, that the future generations won't know exactly what to do. So we invite you to join us in the African Continental Unity Party and the Free-Minded Pan-African Academy, so that we can together create a better world, a world that will respond to the needs of African people, a world that will respond to our aspiration as African people, the world in which African people will live as a free people, as a liberated people from all kind of hegemony and imperialism whatsoever that might be. Thank you very much for your patience and your attention. If you like this presentation, please kindly subscribe to our channel. Please share the video. Please help us to get more subscribers to our YouTube channel. As you can see, we are way too low in terms of subscribers. So you can be also helpful in sharing the video and encouraging your social network to subscribe to our channel, like and share the video as well. That's how we can grow organically. So thank you so much. If you have 2 shoes, please sell one and buy a sword. If you have 2 trousers, please sell one and buy a sword, because now it is time for revolution. And this revolution is no longer on the streets. This revolution is in the mind, because if we don't control our mind, the one who controls the mind then controls our bodies, and it will make our bodies the tools to oppress ourselves and to oppress our people. Peace and love, freedom and decolonization. We see you next time. Thank you.